Our gospel this week continues this series of stories of individual encounters with Jesus from the Gospel of John. A couple weeks ago, we looked at Jesus' interaction with this woman at the well, the Samaritan woman. Last week, we looked at Jesus healing the blind man, and there was this kind of long process of the blind man coming to terms with who Jesus is. This week, we get Jesus raising Lazarus from the dead, and this kind of long encounter between Jesus and Lazarus and his sisters, Mary and Martha. So a couple of interesting points from this gospel that are worth pondering. A couple things this reveals to us about Jesus. Number one, his humanity in two different ways, right? Jesus has these close personal friends who are not the apostles. The apostles are his very close personal friends. But then he's got these other three siblings, Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. And the Gospels say in a couple of different places that Jesus was close with them. Right? He loved them is a term that the Gospel uses. A couple of times it talks about Jesus visiting them with regularity. Right? And so this is partially why Mary and Martha are both kind of put off by the fact that Jesus heard that Lazarus was sick and might die, and he delayed getting there. And they're like, dude, we're friends. What are you doing? Right? And they both confront him when he gets there. And they're like, if you were here, our brother wouldn't have died. Right? And Jesus points out to them, it's better that I wasn't here so that he could die so that I could do what I'm about to do. Right? Jesus is about to raise Lazarus from the dead. This isn't the first time he has risen someone else from the dead either, by the way. He raised Jairus' daughter, this 12-year-old girl, from the dead. The widow at Nain, her son had died, and Jesus rose him from the dead, and now he's going to, in a very dramatic way, bring Lazarus back from the tomb as well. Right? Jesus knows full well he's going to do this. He's done it before. But a second point showing us Jesus' full humanity. This is the only place in all four Gospels that they record that Jesus cried. Right? It's the shortest verse in the entire Bible. Jesus wept. Why does he cry when he knows he's going to raise Lazarus from the dead? Because emotions are part of the fullness of the human experience, and even Jesus himself experienced all of those. There's something good about crying in the face of death when you lose a loved one. When something really bad happens to you, there's something fully human and in a sense good about having a deep emotional response to that. It means that you're human, it means that you're alive, it means that you love and that you cared. Right? And so Jesus shows this right before he raises Lazarus from the dead. And then we get to that dramatic moment that doesn't show his humanity like his friendships and his emotions do. It shows his full-on divinity. Right? He tells them, roll the stone away. And there's lots of echoes of his own resurrection here, right? Lazarus is buried in a cave. Jesus will be buried in a cave. There's a stone in front of it. There's going to be a stone in front of Jesus's. He tells them, roll away the stone. His stone is going to be rolled away, right? And they're like, well, Jesus, he's been dead for 4 days. It's going to stink. And Jesus is like, do it. And they roll the stone away, and he calls out in a loud voice, Lazarus, come out. And he comes out looking like a mummy because he's all wrapped up in his burial clothes, right? Just by the sheer word of it, Lazarus, come out. Lazarus can't help but come out. Just like at the very beginning of the Bible when God says, let there be light, boom, there's light. Let there be animals, boom, there's animals, right? God's word is effective, and that's what happens in this healing. So Jesus shows that he's fully human, but he also shows that he is fully God. And so the big takeaway for us is, what is our relationship to Jesus? How do we view him? Is he this character in a book? Or is he an actual real person who is also God, and therefore what he says matters? This is a gospel reading that should deepen our faith in Jesus being who he says he is, God's own Son sent to save us.